So if you all used to see my van build, but you have to build it to use it. So I got a treat for you guys. Today I got Mario with his no build. You can tell what you have on your van. All right.
First of all, welcome to MoBang FoYoBucks. My name is Mario. I'm from the channel Adventure Gear TV, and I've been into minivan camping for about 6 years now. And this is actually my second minivan. This is a 2015 all-wheel drive Toyota Sienna, which I specifically chose just because I like to do a lot of off-road, overland minivan camping, so not necessarily stealth or city camping. And Tim and I have known each other a little over 2 years, and we've camped together a couple times, and he's allowed me to tour his van. So today you're going to get a special sneak peek actually at my new build that I haven't really shared. I've shared with some people, but I haven't really gone into detail. I'm going to share all those details today for Tim and your channel, which has a lot of custom built DIY projects in your minivan camper, kind of versus my no build or mostly, you know, off the shelf products in my van. So please join me, come inside, check it out. And number one, this van comes with some really heinous rails on the floor when you take the seats out. Over the last couple of months, I removed those seats and I put down a nice carpeted floor. And this carpeted floor is perfect because the way I would get in my van is, you know, a lot of times I might get in and kneel, hey, I need to grab something, and those rails would absolutely dig into my knees. So now, not a problem at all. I have enough room. I can sit in here, I can make my coffee, I can use my microwave, and I can use my little electric pot right here. All these things run off of my power system that I'll show you guys after we kind of leave the kitchen and living room area. So I've already mentioned we do have these kitchen items right here. We have the microwave, the pot, and the coffee maker. And the main thing you'll notice is I don't really have any gas cooking appliances, which I do have, but I save those for the times that I absolutely run out of power. One of my goals over the last 3 or 4 years has been to rely less on the little isopropyl, butane, propane stove cooking appliances, mainly because I don't like to carry it. I don't like to deal with the mess. I'm trading off that kind of hazmat issue for carrying more lithium batteries, but that's worked for me. And most of the time, unless I have several days of overcast, cloudy conditions, I will have plenty of power to cook. Oh, and I get distracted easily, but this is my cutting board.
Nice.
When I'm cooking in here, I will literally just pull this up right here. Then I can put my pan here. I can work. I can angle it however I want, keep my bed from getting dirty. I mean, this is not ideal, right? You don't want to cook where you sleep, stuff like that. But in a small confined space like this, this helps me keep the mess on the board. When I'm done, I clean it up, I wipe it off, and then I can slide it right back under this frame right here. If you have watched my channel or if you're familiar with me, you will know that I'm always talking about power stations. This one right here is actually hooked up to my vehicle's alternator. I do use this one a lot for cooking. This is the 1000 watt-hour EcoFlow Delta, and this is perfect for my setup, but I can only cook for about 40 minutes with all these appliances with this one. The good thing about the alternator charger is I drive all day, I get to where I need to go, it's usually charged up and topped off, and then I can cook my dinner, and it'll be empty by the morning and ready to top off the next day. In here, this is kind of like one of my obviously places that I hang out the most. I have 2 safety things that I feel like are non-negotiable in a minivan camper. Number one is, you know, I have this cheap fire extinguisher. I've actually had a couple of these. Fortunately, I've never had to use it before, but I got these off of Amazon. They're pretty simple. They're not super expensive. And I just always have it essentially available right here. Oh, and there's one of those stoves I mentioned. That's my emergency stove if I don't have any other way to cook. But I always have it essentially right there. So if I need to grab it, maybe I'm in my bed or I'm sitting here, I can just run down, hook it and grab it, and then start putting out whatever fire I might potentially have. I picked this thing up recently, and this is one of my favorite lights. I want to mount it like right here, but that really gives me the ambience of, you know, home or something like that out on the road.
Is that rechargeable?
That is a rechargeable
Nice.
USB-C lamp. And the only concern I have is it's top heavy, obviously, and I don't want it flying around. So that's why I had it tucked in there out of the way. But the second safety thing that I considered non-negotiable, I do not sleep with my engine running. And if you're watching this and you're out there and it's cold and you're at -2 degrees, turn the engine off, find a way to stay warm. But the safest thing to do is to camp with your engine off because of the risk of carbon monoxide or just inhaling those toxic fumes. But I have my carbon monoxide detector right here. I've had one in my minivan ever since I've started camping. I don't use it for, like I said, I don't run the vehicle while I'm sleeping, but even when I would cook in here with that little stove that you just saw a few minutes ago, I would watch this thing go up to like 300 or 400 parts per million if the doors are just even a little cracked. So the poisonous gas does accumulate. So one, I don't cook with that in here anymore. And then two, if you're sleeping in your vehicle, I just recommend having that, you know, just for safety. I have a heated electric blanket. The electric blanket pulls about 150 watts when I'm using it. I mostly don't use it, but in some cases I will use it. And I plug that one into the power station that's under the bed, which I'm going to show you this amazing bed in a few minutes here. But the unique thing about this bed is, and I'll share with Tim here the link for this mattress. This is actually a folding chair. So one of the reasons I have this folding chair here is I had planned to pull this chair out because, hey, this is very comfortable. I love this chair, but if I'm always looking for more space, why not replace this chair with, you know, something that I can just hop in and relax. I can sit back, I can read a book, and chair not needed. So this is literally like a folding, relaxing chair. It's about 25 inches wide and about 75 inches long. I'm 5'9", and so for me, you know, camping, I can just lay back, sleep as comfortably as I want, and problem solved. This thing was about 80 bucks. I love it. I've gone through, Tim, you've seen my channel. Yeah. I've gone through all kinds of bed builds. I'm almost obsessed with minivan camping bed setups. But what that leads me to is, let me show you in my garage a little bit, and I'll talk more about this bed frame. Tim had a really good question. You know, why am I pulling that seat out, or what would I do if I pulled that out? Well, I just demonstrated to you how all of my kitchen setup does revolve around the bed. And one of the goals here would be to use at least half of this space to put a true kitchen counter setup. Maybe I could permanently mount my hot plate, which, similar to Tim's, you know, I also have a hot plate that I store under here for specifically when I do some cast iron skillet meals that I love to make. But it would be nice to put just a small, maybe 14-inch deep by about 24-inch tall cabinet right here. That would be perfect. And then I would just lay on my bed when I need to hang out and get a lot more room back from this chair. The main reason I have not done it is these chairs are insanely comfortable.
It is very comfortable.
So it's very hard to want to give up that comfort. But let's go look at the trunk real quick. So many of you, especially if you have an all-wheel drive Sienna, might know that this Sienna all-wheel drive model does not come with a spare tire. I like to do a lot of camping way out there where if I get a flat tire, I need to either be able to replace it, or I could be stranded out there and the walk could be several miles to get back to civilization. So I bought this tire carrier, which does cover my backup camera, but I have another camera I'm going to mount later that will actually go in this little hitch right here, and then I'll be able to see behind me. It doesn't bother me too much because I grew up driving cars without backup cameras anyway, so I can use my mirrors. But this thing, when I bought it, it was about $300, $250 on Temu. And yes, it is a Temu, you know, variant. I have not had any problems with it, but they're currently almost $600 on Temu. The reason I mentioned that is the real version, the Wilco off-road nice version, it's like $1,200. So you're getting closer to just buying the real deal. Unfortunately, that was a little bit out of my budget when I made this purchase, but quality, you know, buy once, cry once, that is definitely a better quality than this, but this is sufficient for me. I also did the dedicated license plate mount bracket, and I have this light hooked up. That way I'm 100% legal with my tire carrier in the back here. So another thing, if you have a Toyota Sienna or any minivan in general, you know there are these cavities in the trunk where the third row seats usually hang out. And so Haley Outdoors, this bed right here is very customizable. They are a little expensive. I don't know. I think they're like $500 for this frame, or $400. I don't know exactly, but for me, I've gone through 4 different bed frames and none of them have ever been perfectly level until I got this one right here. And if you can look underneath, you'll see every foot. So this foot is almost 2 feet tall. That one's like 14 inches. And then the front one is almost like 10 inches. Each foot, all 6 of them have their own setting, and that keeps me perfectly level when I'm camping. Before we get too deep into my garage back here, I also have this table. This is my second table. My first one I saw on a channel called Adventuring with Amanda. It's a foldable 24-inch table. Very nice. And because I have this extra room back here, because I no longer have the third row seat, I can carry this Lifetime table. And this thing for me has been basically perfect for when I want to cook outside. I'm not going to sit down right now here because it's dirty, but I can pull out my chair, hang out here under my tailgate, and I can cook right here, enjoy, relax, enjoy life.
Is that why you don't have a dedicated kitchen right now? Because you cook most of the time outside, right?
Yeah, so I don't have a dedicated kitchen because of that. I do eventually want to do it. And just like you, I occasionally have to bring passengers. And so as configured right now, I can put 1, 2, 3, 4 passengers in this van. So myself plus 3. And then if I really needed more, in about 30 minutes, I could reinstall that back seat. And that would give me 3, 4, 5, 6 total. And so 6 is plenty. It's mostly just me traveling. This is my daily driver. I do everything in this vehicle, and it has just been awesome to have it. But I did mention that I go out off-roading quite a bit, or I go off the beaten path. So I do have a few safety things I want to share with you. And this came in handy. And in fact, this is give me a sec here because it's a little bit, just give me a sec here because it's a little bit of a mess because I wasn't actually expecting company today. But this is you would wrap this around a tree or something. And then I also have this kit right here. And I mentioned this because literally a month ago, I had a friend with a Jeep and he got stuck. And I used this snatch rope and we winched from his Jeep to my van to get him out because he was on one of those power line service roads. And the funny thing is they're about 200 or 300 feet wide and most winches are 100 feet long. So he was about 10 feet short in either direction from attaching to a tree. So I was able to pull up to him. We just hooked up and then he winched himself out using my van as an anchor. So I will carry this stuff no matter what. If I ever get stuck, I might get creative and figure out ways to Wile E. Coyote my way out of a ditch or something. But the main thing is if somebody's coming to help me, I at least have a few things that we can use to lengthen or connect safely to the vehicle. So there's a topic a lot of people don't like to talk about, but I love to talk about it because they're funny. This is actually my collapsible toilet. I try to never use it unless I absolutely have to. This is the last resort. A lot of the places I go, I can dig a hole and I can leave no trace. And then in fact, this thing is so cool. A lot of people don't know if you use this, right? You dig your hole and then this also doubles up as a little comfy stool to help you perform your business without having to squat too much.
There you go. So that's the tip of the day.
Yeah, tip of the day right there. I was super lucky. I was in a Goodwill and I just happened to look in a little toolbox and I saw this down there for $4 and I had to buy it. So
good find.
Yeah, good little tool right there. I do have some nice long 20-foot long jumper cables. I bought these about
That's a heavy duty.
10 years ago because again, if I need this and someone needs to reach me, you know, or a lot of times I use these to help people. It's like, hey, I have all this stuff inside here. You can barely see there's a tire repair kit. So in here I have a tire repair kit, those jumper cables, and then if I have super, what's that?
I see your battery for the blanket there, right?
Yep, I'll show you that in a second. If I have super bad luck, say my battery does, this is just a simple trickle charger. I can hook this up to my power station, charge my battery, get back on the road. Okay. Nice. Of course, I have this extension cord specifically with the 3 prongs because this actually attaches to those cooking appliances if I need to. All 3 of them will fit. And then this is actually a spare power cable for my Starlink that's on the roof of the van. Oh. And then this is the Blue Eddy Elite 200 V2, which this runs, like I said, it'll run my my heated blanket. It also runs my light set in here on the roof. And then it also runs my mini fridge that you might have seen in the kitchen area. So this is more for your low and slow loads. It's a big enough battery that with the solar panel, you can see right now, it's the end of the day, it's the afternoon, sun's starting to set. I'm at a solid 100%, and nothing's pulling power right now because obviously the blanket's not on. Going over here, I've got a tire inflator kit. So again, maybe for some reason I'll pull that spare tire carrier off. I need a way to inflate. And then of course, like I said, I'm obsessed with tire plug kits. There's another tire plug kit. And the main reason is occasionally I've had one of these break or bend while I'm using it. And then this will just be like a spare. I've at least got 2 attempts if the first one doesn't work. Oh, I got one more secret spot that I've never shown in any YouTube videos before. Oh, this right here is my coffee table. I found this perfect coffee table, and it actually had some drawers, some like little soft drawers. And in fact, this is the bottom of the drawer right here. But I have these little totes right here. For example, you know, there's some toiletries I have, some snacks, you know, and then some dry goods, you know, like you have. But this right here was, I think, about $40 on Amazon. And if you've seen my channel, I've gone through 10 different arrangements here, and this is the one that I've had absolutely the most success with. Everything fit. The microwave fit perfectly on that side. The fridge fits perfectly here. And then right underneath it, I don't know if you can see that right there, is the Blue Eddy Charger 1. That's the alternator charger that I have hooked up to that EcoFlow battery. But while I've got you on this side, this is for my diesel heater, which I made a video about recently. It's not cold enough yet, but the season is coming for the diesel heater. Oh, you hang them. Let me make sure and then this thing, if you're still filming, this spare tire, one day I did forget to close it and swing out. I was driving down the highway and I was like, what's that banging sound? And as I was going around the curves, this tire was swinging back and forth. Oh, sorry about that. Perfect. Okay, so this will sit here like that. I can put my diesel heater here. I've got the perfect hose. And that way I keep kind of the dangerous part of the heater outside of the vehicle. And then I can pump in hot air into the vehicle. So when I do some winter snow camping adventures, I want to show you, which I have to lower the window to show you. These things over the summer, these have been absolute game changers. Okay. So this is from a company called Snapshades. They were like $100. They're a little bit expensive, but I've just left them in. So anytime I get somewhere, I can just roll my back windows down. I don't have to worry about bugs coming in and some of those horse flies. I know you're in Michigan. I've seen some giant flies out in Michigan. They just don't get in. And so this allows me to camp. Like tonight, it's going to be a perfect night for camping outside with the windows open. I could do that, no problem. And I don't have to mess with anything, because my other option, much cheaper, is some socks that essentially slide over the door. And you belt them, you buckle them in the back. they're only like 10 bucks. So if you are on a strict budget, definitely go with the socks. But for me, who has been doing this for several years, this is my number one choice. The only gripe is there are a couple of spots. I mean, it's not perfect because it's held in by snaps and friction. There are a couple of spots where like a very persistent bug can find its way into the vehicle. So I do have actually gaffer tape is what's called, holding these in right here. So this little gap right here, there's actually a little bit of tape. You can actually see it right here. If you poke in, you can see the tape surface right there.
Yep.
So now by no means is this a stealth camper, but I do have a full set of just window shades. There's my back window. There's my two side windows. And then my other side window is actually in right now. And then the last side window. And the main reason I have this is, hey, maybe I'm camping somewhere. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to have privacy. I can put these up. Hey, even at a campsite, at night, I'll be in there reading a book or something. I have my lights on. That way people walking by don't look in, and not that I care, but, it gives you a little bit of privacy. Doesn't take too much. But one thing about my setup is I've got my solar panel. I just took my roof rack off, my awning.
How much power is that? 400?
That's a 225 watt Bouge RV Type N TopCon solar panel. And I like that because it has that dual side. However, the way it is, it's not in its optimal position. But I do get close to about 180 watts out of that all day long. So, in 10 hours, right? That's almost 1,800 watt hours. And then you may want to come step up here, but you can see this massive thing right here is my Starlink. This Starlink mount is from a company called Veritas Vans. It is just magnetic. I'm not even going to try to pull it up because it's super stable. This is not going anywhere. But I previously had one that I bought off Amazon, and my Starlink was kind of up in the air, exposed, right? So I would hit branches, and if you see a pinstripe right there, I hit random branches out in the forest. This one has been a lifesaver because I've absolutely smacked it. You can actually see a scratch right here where I've hit it with something deep in the woods, and this has protected it. So very good Starlink mount. If you're going to have Starlink, definitely recommend it. I'm on there's like a $30 plan. All the Starlink I need. I don't stream a lot of videos and stuff, so plenty of Starlink for me. We got so excited about finishing up. The last thing I wanted to share with you guys is, if you did notice, the van is lifted 3.5 inches. And I did that specifically because I do a lot of off-roading. Hey, I'm not doing Jeep level off-roading, but any Forest Service trail, I've gone off some 1 foot, drops, stuff like that. This van with this Journeys off-road 3.5 inch lift kit handles that stuff perfectly. Gives me a lot of confidence, and I'm not going to ruin the bottom of the vehicle. And this has just opened up things. My prior van, if you watch any of my videos from there, I would get places and I would immediately start bottoming out and dragging. This thing does not have that problem on those trails that I go down.
So how much clearance you have now?
So now my clearance is 11.5 inches from my rear differential, because it's all-wheel drive. And it was 7 inches previously, right? So small, trees or bushes, I can go over that. Any dips, I mean, I've not bottomed out. I've been careful, very careful to not do that. But last month I took my son out into the forest and we went on some very extreme trails, and I was worried I wasn't going to be able to get back out, but we wanted to get to a place where he could set up his telescope and take some images of the sky for the night. And we made it out there, and in the morning we got out, no problem. So
did you have snow when you come out or no?
Not in that trip, but I did have snow before I put the lift kit on.
No.
I went out on a snow adventure and I was actually scraping. So I'm looking forward to this winter to go out and do some more snow adventures. And the other thing I did was, these are snow rated tires. And so they're Falcon Wild Peak. So they're mud and snow rated. So they have this 3-peak mountain snowflake, which is that rating. And so these are, hey, they're not the best off-road tires, but they're sufficient for what I do with my minivan. Well worth it. And the other interesting thing is the tires last 60,000 miles So they actually last a lot longer than the other tires that were on there. And I get, you know, in this van about 20 miles per gallon. I do have a lot of accessories and stuff. So love it. It's an absolute blast. Thank you for letting me share it to you. So my number one advice, if you guys want to know, is if you're getting in the minivan camper, you got your minivan, maybe your kids grew up, they're moving out of the house. You don't have to buy a bunch of stuff. Just get you a blanket, get you something that will keep you comfortable. Get out and start doing. And like Tim and like me, who have gone over evolutions of our minivan camper builds, you will eventually figure out what works best for you. And then that will be the best minivan camper that you've ever seen. If you guys are interested in my build or other information about my situation or some of my camping adventures, check out my channel, Adventure Gear TV. I'm Mario, and Tim, thank you so much for having me on your channel.
Well, thank you for sharing with us. He also do a lot of product reviews, very good reviews. So check it out also.